Bonjour tout le monde,
Je
je
m'appelle
m'appelle
Elissa
Elissa
Strome.
Strome.
C'est un
C'est une...
honneur d'être ici aujourd'hui au Forum international de l'IA du Marseille en présence de nombreux amis et partenaires. Comme vous avez pu le remarquer, le français n'est pas ma langue maternelle, donc je vais continuer en anglais. Hello, everyone. I'm Elissa Strome. I'm the Executive Director of the Pan-Canadian AI Strategy at CIFAR. It's a pleasure to be here with you today to share some of the work that my colleagues and I have been doing over the last 4 years to advance the Pan-Canadian AI Strategy. In Canada, we're incredibly fortunate that 3 of the leading pioneers in developing and advancing the fundamental research of artificial intelligence, particularly machine learning, have chosen to call Canada home. And these are Richard Sutton at the University of Alberta, Joshua Bengio at the University of Montreal, and Jeff Hinton at the University of Toronto. These 3 gentlemen are some of the world's leading researchers in AI and have been working in the field for a very long time. Over the course of many years, they've been able to train dozens of graduate students and attract colleagues from around the world to join their institutions. And because of them, our 3 primary universities, the University of Alberta, University of Montreal, and University of Toronto, have been able to build up very, very strong research clusters of expertise in machine learning. And so in 2017, Canada was one of the first countries in the world to announce a national AI strategy. And we really wanted to build on that strong foundation of fundamental research and training in AI. And so we focused our strategy on building up very rich ecosystems in those 3 centers and on building a very deep pool of talented individuals with AI skills and expertise. Our pillar has 4 strategies. First and foremost, we wanted to establish new centers of excellence for AI research and innovation, new not-for-profit research centers in the 3 cities. So we have AMI in Alberta, Mila in Montreal, and the Vector Institute in Toronto. And these centers now have, over the last 4 years, really evolved as the dynamic hubs, the centers of their respective AI ecosystems. They are the place where academics come together with researchers from the private sector. We have intersection with government policymakers, with venture capitalists, with innovators and entrepreneurs. They are the place where the research and innovation community really comes together to collaborate and advance AI research, training, and innovation. They each sort of respond to their own respective regional ecosystems. So in Alberta, for instance, they partner with the oil and gas sector because that's a major focus of the economy. In Montreal, we have a very high concentration of the technology companies. And in Toronto, for instance, we have the head offices of all 5 of our big national banks. And so each of the AI institutes partners with their local ecosystem and helps to drive forward AI research and innovation. The second pillar is really talent, and our primary focus here is a program called the Canada CIFAR AI Chairs Program. In this program so far, we have named 109 faculty members as Canada CIFAR AI Chairs. These are some of the top researchers in the world, and we use the program to retain researchers in Canada, but also to recruit new researchers to come to Canada. Through the program, they get 5 years of dedicated research funding, and we've built a very rich community of expertise and provided additional supports and resources and opportunities for them to collaborate with each other. Many of these CCAI chairs are cross-appointed in industry, so some spend half their time at a university and the other half at a technology lab, for instance. About 30% of our chairs have expertise in AI for health, so that's a major strategic focus for Canada, and about 20% of the chairs identify as women. We have a national program of activities. These are conferences, training programs, workshops, research grants to bring researchers and trainees together across the country. At CIFAR, we partner with many different organizations across the country to deliver AI training program to students everywhere from high school all the way up to postdoctoral fellows. And we have a real focus in our training programs on ensuring that we are providing opportunities for participation for people who identify as members of underrepresented groups in AI. So we really want to advance equity, diversity, and inclusion in AI. Our fourth pillar is AI in society. So not only did we want to focus on advancing AI research and innovation and the fundamental science of AI, but we also wanted to further understand the societal implications of AI. And so we've been working with partners around the world, particularly in France and the UK, to run a series of programs. We have policy labs for policymakers across Canada. We've had a series of AI in society workshops looking at the legal, social, ethical, economic implications of AI. And we have a new program that we're just starting, which is actually about deployment of AI in a very responsible way in particular targeted areas. So the first solution network that we'll name very shortly is actually focused on responsible AI in low and middle income countries. Overall in Canada, we have a very strong culture of responsible AI. So our federal government has been working extensively to support the development of AI policies, both in Canada and of course, internationally. Many of you will know of the Montreal Declaration for Responsible AI. Well, the movement and the culture that really drives that really actually permeates all of our AI ecosystem across the country. So we have AI policies in our government about the development and deployment of AI. We have new privacy legislation that is before our House of Commons. And we have a new recent activity on public engagement in AI called the Open Dialogue AI in Canada. Much of that work is led by my colleague, Marc-Antoine Delac, who is actually speaking right after me. Internationally, we work with partners around the world to advance our understanding of AI policy. You'll remember that Canada and France were the countries that came together to announce the concept between that. Bonjour tout le monde. Je m'appelle Elissa Strome. C'est un
Alors, est-ce qu'on a un... Monsieur le Président, donc je ne sais pas si on a un incident, est-ce qu'on peut le résoudre?
Je crois qu'on a une interruption de la vidéo, effectivement.
Ben, on risque de passer en live dans ces cas-là, de manière...
Mais peut-être que Farid peut la relancer en direct, non? En mettant le focus là où on était.
Excellent cet exposé, hein. Bravo. On est très très heureux de comprendre ce qui se passe au Canada grâce à cet exposé. Donc on va reprendre à l'endroit où nous étions et...
Bonjour tout le monde. Je m'appelle Elissa Strome. C'est un honneur d'être ici aujourd'hui au Forum international de l'IA de Marseille en présence de nombreux amis et partenaires. Comme vous avez pu le remarquer, le français n'est pas ma langue maternelle. And we continue to work with partners in the US and in Europe to think about the opportunities for collaboration around AI policy. So over 4 years in the Pan-Canadian AI strategy, we've seen significant growth in Canada's AI ecosystem and a real impact of the work that we're doing. So beyond the chairs at our AI institutes, we've trained hundreds of graduate students in AI. We've been attracting talent from all around the world. We've seen very significant increases in multinational investment in AI in Canada. It's probably more than 50 now. New AI R&D labs have been set up by the private sector in Canada, and we've seen 50% growth in foreign investment in ICT in Canada over the last few years. Tech jobs are growing significantly in all three of our centers. Our AI startup ecosystem is really, really vibrant and rich across the country, and we've seen significant increases in venture capital funding over the last few years. So just at the end of April, the federal government announced a renewal and expansion of the Pan-Canadian AI strategy for another 5 years. We're really excited now to go beyond our focus on building up the ecosystems and developing the talent and really looking at where AI can bring positive benefits to society. So we'll be focusing on AI for health, AI for energy and the environment, advancing equity, diversity, and inclusion in AI, and in partnership with the AI institutes and companies across the country, really focusing on AI innovation and adoption. I see many opportunities for collaboration between France and Canada. Many collaborations already exist. We have such a rich history, collaboration, and friendship between our two countries. There are many collaborations that I know of between researchers in Canada and their counterparts in France. We have the international policy collaborations that I've already spoken about. And just yesterday, in fact, CNRS and my organization, CIFAR, announced a new partnership to come together to work on various different aspects of research, but particularly also to work together and continue to work together on AI and society. Over the immediate year or so, I think there will be new opportunities for research collaborations between Canada and France. A Canadian organization named MyTax has been working to bring French and Canadian leaders and researchers together to understand some strategic priorities for cooperation, and we'll be bringing those to our funding agencies to ask them to support them. And we have many opportunities in Canada for researchers from France to collaborate, or for students from France to participate in our training programs. So I do invite everyone to sign up for our newsletter to learn more about what we're doing. And please follow the cifar.ca/AI website to learn more about the Pan-Canadian AI strategy. So with that very brief overview, I want to thank the Government of Canada for their continued support of the Pan-Canadian AI strategy, and partners in our provincial governments, the province of Ontario,
Serge,
province of Quebec,
je
and
peux
province of
continuer
Alberta
maintenant.
have all been very
I
generous.
can do it live. It's only like 2 slides left if you want me to. Oh, there it is. Or
generous investors in their respective AI ecosystems. We have some partners in the private sector, and of course other governments and agencies around the world. Thank you very much.
So I think my final thoughts and remarks there were to describe, I think I had a slide in between the two that you saw, describing the very close partnership and opportunities for collaboration between Canada and France. This is where I see that we actually have many of our activities that are very closely aligned, many existing collaborations actually between researchers in Canada and France, and many opportunities in the future to strengthen those partnerships and collaborations. I've been doing some work with an agency in Canada called MyTax that has been bringing researchers in AI and other topics together across the Atlantic. So roundtables between Canadian researchers and their counterparts in France and also in the UK. And we've been exploring opportunities for collaboration in new priority areas for Canada, in particular AI for health, AI for energy and the environment. And another area that we're really interested in Canada is advancing equity, diversity, and inclusion in AI. CIFAR just announced last week a renewal of our partnership with CNRS, and we have a long-standing collaboration and partnership, and we look forward to working more closely with CNRS on our AI and society activities and other research collaboration activities. So I think that was the final remarks that were cut off in the video, and I'll pass it back over to you, Serge, and the other speakers. Thank you.